Good noon on a Sunday, lazy Sunday, winters in most part of India and elsewhere in the globe too. And we are here to talk about business and motivation. How contrasting is this? Anyway, before I go, for those who don't know me, I am Alok Sapre. I represent a firm called CIA-GLOCAL Venture LLP, which basically is a consulting, management consulting and infra advisory firm. We work with banks, investors and industries across sector agnostic. About me, I am a engineering graduate with masters and also management graduate from ISB with study legs in Kellogg, Wharton and FDC, Brazil. The very idea of being here is to talk about more and more about the business and also interact with you. So today you can say I'm your friend, philosopher, guide, for a few maybe mentor, for a few just a colleague, and maybe your host today. Let's talk something about businesses. How is the business? Business is nothing but a set of people create somebody's ideas and take it further to make it successful as a business. Yeah, so that means there are two things are important. One is the idea, other is the people. Ideas could generate from anywhere. It could be from the owner's mind. He gets inspired with someone, but then ideas and then translating them into success is the job of teams. The organization, what we call organization, is a set of processes, people and practices which are used for output, or you can say the best outcome what we expect. So what is that which we are trying to talk about here? We are trying to talk more and more, you can say, about people. Yeah, definitely. Organizations. Now there are organizations which are very well established. There are organizations who are on the path of becoming big, and there are organizations who have started testing success too. We can help all organizations, but probably the last two, where the people are coming up and already trying to do something better, could be our target audience. Two reasons: young ideas and young people get attached to these organizations faster these days. Whereas the established organizations, they have a lot of processes, big organization setup, lot of big, you can say, placement and people and management. So probably an external help is less needed except specifics. But at the same time, when we help banks, the banks are huge organizations, but then they need technical expertise. So what we bring in is our expertise for the domain, which are sector agnostic. It could be infrastructure, oil and gas, energy, renewables, ESG practices today, or whatever. We try and bring those, even chemical, textile, beverages, So we bring in diversity. How is it possible? Because of the people again. The people who are associated with us as experts, the people who are in our team and ready to learn and ready to explore. When we, as a small organization, we are a small startup, maybe around 6-7 years of age and trying to grow big, but then we already have a brand and we are known for our credibility, real, valuable and sustainable solutions. This can only happen if we have a vision, and this exact vision we want to help the upcoming organizations with. Business is not all about just making tenders, going for new setups and creating investments, but it is also about creating a lot of value system around it. When we create a value system, it augurs well for long-term growth. Short times, like typically in India we call it jugaad, works definitely well for a smaller period, but at the end of the day, it is the organizational practices, value system and the teams, they make the big difference Today you talk about Apple, Microsoft, Google, any of these, even Pepsi and Coca-Cola, any of these organizations, what is different in them and us, we need to compare. We need to really figure out what makes these organizations very different. One is, yes, advanced tech. Second is also the clarity of vision and very clear thought about setting up their business on a long-term basis. This is exactly the differentiator between us and a business going up or going down. Going down could be various reasons. Could be the sometimes genuine failures happen because of the market dynamics are against you. But at the same time, we probably read the market wrong. I have done that mistake. Sometimes we are at the pulse wrong and then we failed in our that particular venture, but then we have to get up and get going again for doing this thing right. So how we do that? Getting down is not a problem, but getting up is the challenging. This is where the motivation part of the discussion comes in play. Motivation is again is not just an emotion. Motivation is mix of your zeal to work, your positivity, the knowledge what you want to bring in, and at the same time, maybe you look at someone who can inspire you. He could be a scientist, he could be a management expert, he could be a cricketer like Dhoni or Kohli or Rohit Sharma or anyone, or tennis player, maybe Federer or Nadal, or Steve Jobs. A lot of people get inspired with him. So it all depends, because you look at a personality and then try and see what is good in him and whether can I do that. At the same time, the motivations could be very small. That okay, I have failed, let me get the things right, where I went wrong. So I do a bit of study of my own failures and then decide to do corrections in my method and approach. And when I do this, I find that yeah, the things were decent, but I have not done perfect in my own way. In that case, what do I do? I need to follow that I may fail temporarily, but permanently I will succeed in my endeavor. This exactly is the catch line for individuals as well as for businesses. So when we talk about failures, they are not necessarily mean that you are rejected and you should get dejected. Failures means you should make your path to success with failures as your stepping stones. And as we say that this motivation is also the helps you to decide your goals, set your practices right, and also make step-by-step plan for yourself. How every day I will be better version of myself. Same is organizations. Organizational motivation would be what? I will compete with the best in the business. I will bring in the best practices, best quality, best ESG practices, best management practices, ethical practices. That makes the organization on a long term sustainable. Other way is to follow all shortcuts where your growth will be fast, but then you're always managing something which is not needed. So my model of success basically goes with a long term model where initial failures and initial diversions could be avoided, and we stay with a focus, go behind it very systematically, make our own calculated guess, study the market well, use expert advice, use the people in the team appropriately, because we as owner do a common mistake. We always feel that we know the best, but we want to take the teams and the smart people who are better than us. Then only we can grow and thrive and leave the business nitty-gritties for them to handle, and we can focus ourselves on a bigger objective or goals. This is one mistake which owners, promoters, CEOs, they do. We centralize too much around us and we don't allow delegation to happen, which end of the day slows us down, and then we become frustrated, and even the business gets impacted and our behavior gets impacted. In order to get smarter people, you need to trust them. Everything has a nurturing time. Like a seed, once you sow today, it won't give you fruit or vegetable tomorrow. It will have its own nurturing time. Same is the people. You take best of the talent, but to set in within the organization, they need time. They need to understand the psyche of management, the key people, how you do the business, what is the value system, how can I do here, can I be independent, do I have delegation, can I proceed with this? These are the questions always there in the mind of brightest of people, mind you, senior most of people when they come on the board or directors or as CEOs also, they have similar questions in mind. The magnitude of the questions could be different, but the basic remains the same. Means the environment to host the people of whatever level at entry or at the top needs to be consistent. This consistency comes with what? With right mindset of promoters and management, and at the same time right value system in the organization. How do I encourage people to stay with me longer? See, today when the attention spans are going down due to advent of media and TV and mobiles, we can't expect employees to be there for 10, 15, 20 years like earlier, because the world is big and they are there for seeing their own interest also. But then if you give them the right environment and they stay with you for 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number of years, those are the years which you should target at. No point in just doubting everyone that he will leave within 2 years or 1 year. Till the time he is here and till the time he is bound by the management requirement and ethics of his own agreement, we have to utilize that time justifiably. This is the same case for short service commission or in the army, where they go for a short tenure, but then that tenure is their best tenure in life. We as organization can also do the same. Yesterday was the army day, and this is the right way of thinking. The way army brings in new recruits, they are not at all trained, but army spends huge time and amount in training the people. Sports person, the youngster comes in a team, but he goes through a grind and training, physical as well as mental and as well as technical. That's what we lack as an organization. Training doesn't mean that we have to invest a lot of money on people. Training means we need to give them confidence. We need to give them patient hearing. We need to give them the understanding where they need for a particular problem. We need to keep our eyes and ear open for them always. And they should be seeing us that we are available to support them. These are the basics which I would always talk about, and I would support more and more. I won't say that trainings are exhaustive classroom, air-conditioned halls and big institutes are training us. No. Trainings are the one which we give to the people when we are there for them, and we support them when they really need us. Other time we allow them to thrive, we allow them to fly and make good progress within the organization for the assigned task. At the same time, there is a requirement of the people who are entering into an organization. So the another idea of motivation in this topic is to the youngsters, engineers, the young students or other category of people, CAs, CS or whoever. When they enter an organization, they have a lot of expectations and they want overnight it to be succeeded. Now when you can't complete your graduation and this before 3 years or 5 years of time, how can you expect organization to give you result within 3 months to 6 months? So you also need a time to be there. Allow organization to give you enough patient hearing as well as support, and you also show that you can demonstrate your potential first by learning right as per the practices in the organization and as per the best practices in the industry. At the same time, you create a value system around you and make deliverables very clear. This all is required to grow in the organization, and even if you want to change organization, you have already done something of good basics which qualifies you for the next higher position. So these are all the requirements which we miss out at entry level or at mid level or even at the top level. We always want something for us. Organization has not done this right, not done that right. Like infrastructure projects. One of the basic area of people want to do engineering courses in basic lines of civil, electrical, mechanical is that they want to prove themselves to be in the construction field or infrastructure development field, oil and gas, real estate sectors. But the moment they go to the project site, within few months, they get enchanted. Why? Two reasons. One is the task is too big, which they have never studied in the organization, in the institutions. At the same time, they have not been groomed by their superiors or the management to face the task in an appropriate manner. These are the areas which make the difference for a newcomer at whatever level to establish him or herself. Few aspects of institutions where we go for our higher education, either it is a Bachelor of Engineering or it's a MBA or whatever, all our courses till today also are a lot of theory oriented. We are not being trained practically. So the organizations must know that when they take a top talent from an institution, it is in theoretical studies with very little practical exposure. In India, we have very less interest for placing people on internship or trainings. We're just shaping up now, but not that much. People do these trainings just for sake of 6 weeks or 8 weeks to show on their resume. But these are the crucial 8 weeks of your life which will shape your career for next maybe 8-10 years. This is the area where we as CIA-GLOCAL Venture LLP, we want to help industry and aspirants to go to the organization and succeed both ways. Being a commercial organization, yes, we have our own commercial interest, but at the same time, for a larger cause, the commercial interest doesn't matter. It's a balance between both. In order to go ahead with this agenda, this is my first discussion, so I have just made it an outline. But then this will be continued maybe every month, twice, depending on your interest and your responses. You can always write to us at assistance@cia-glocal.com and feel free to raise your questions. Look forward to come to such meaningful dialogue more and more. This was an introduction. The story is to follow. All the best. Thanks. Look forward. If you have any questions,